welcome our next set of speakers and an equally interesting topic where we talk about lead generation, art and science of converting opportunities into sales. So let me introduce our panel members. We welcome our moderator of the session, Ashwinder Singh, CEO Residential, Bhartiya Urban, and he's a best-selling author. Ashwinder Singh was CEO Residential JLL India and UAE and Group Business Head Bajaj Housing Finance. He is an admired entrepreneur in the Indian startup ecosystem, is a member of the CII Northern Region, Distinguished Infrastructure and Real Estate Committee, and is also on the advisory board of RICS and Amity University. He is also the author of the renowned bestseller book, The A to Z of Residential Real Estate. Let me now welcome our speakers of the session, introducing in an alphabetical order, Abhishek Jain, co-founder and managing director, Terapact Technology Private Limited. Abhishek Jain co-founded Terapact after a span of 14 years in the US and parts of EMEA with the vision of combining a powerful mix of technologies to transform the way most organizations and people will be able to and enable drive customer experience in a bespoke and futuristic manner. Arun Anand, co-founder Flow Realty, is our next panel member. He has a strong experience in setting up and running various functions of marketing, such as product marketing, sales, brand management, pricing, profitability management, media planning, pre-sales, consumer research, market intelligence, and so on. Our next eminent panel member is Mr. Jayesh Rathod, Director, The Guardian's Real Estate Advisory. He is one of the founding members and the director of the Guardian's Real Estate Advisory and hence the product strategy and marketing functions. His able understanding and experience of product design has helped the organization add unprecedented value to projects consulted by the company. Our next panel member, let me introduce Mr. Manoj Chellani, Chief Sales Officer, Arvind SmartSpaces. Mr. Chellani is an astute sales professional with overall experience of nearly 2 decades in IT, ITES, and real estate sector. He has been associated with Arvind SmartSpaces since 2019 and previously has worked with companies like Tech Mahindra, Lodha, Radius Developers, and Runwal Group in key managing roles. Our next panel member, let me introduce Dr. Mohit Ramsinghani, Chief Sales Officer, Luxury Sales and Marketing, Shapoorji Pallonji Real Estate. Dr. Mohit Ramsinghani is responsible for setting up luxury portfolio and mobilization of the current set of luxury assets. During his 2 decades long career, he has gained robust cross-industry expertise across real estate, banking, and financial services. I now request our moderator to take over the session and carry forward the conversation. Mr. Singh, over to you now.
Thank you, Sapna. I hope I'm audible, and as always, a rocking introduction and always full of energy. A warm welcome to all my panelists. It's such an interesting panel that I've got to moderate, and I'm truly lucky because I've been getting barrage of questions from everybody. People have been quite interested in this very important subject because finally this is where the rubber hits the road when we talk about content marketing, we talk about social media marketing, or we talk of anything to do with digital. Finally, what we want is to have an impact on our bottom line. And who better than all of you who kind of run your functions and businesses in a manner to drive business, grow the bottom line, increase value for all the shareholders. So the art and science of lead generation, converting opportunities into sales is what exactly, business is all about. But here we are kind of making it a little more focused by bringing in digital marketing into it. If I recollect, I started working in 98, 97. We started when we spoke about digital marketing. At times it was, it started with SMS. And at time, the only thing that was digital was SMS way back in 92, 93. Then, search engine marketing came into play. Google became very popular, AdWords, so on and so forth. Then Facebook ads became quite a thing where people started doing lead generation on Facebook. Chatbots came in, infographics came in. We are talking about now VR wearables. And as we keep on talking about the way this entire digital landscape has transformed, suddenly WhatsApp is becoming a science, which was only just a medium. So it's a very interesting landscape to discuss about. I was just looking at some figures. The total advertising spend in the digital world in the last 10 years has grown from 2,000 odd crores to 36,000 crores across all industries. In the last 10 years, that is the kind of digital spend that has happened. And if I say that even if the total spend of the total digital real estate is 5%, we are talking about 1,500 on the digital side only. This number can be 2,000, 2,500, 3,000 crores. But what I want to say is that digital is the way forward. And the last 2 years, the challenges that we have seen, suddenly it is digital that has come to the rescue of everyone. So that's the broad introduction I wanted to give before we getting into this interesting conversation. Jayesh ji, my first question is to you. You are the rock star in Mumbai, and I believe Guardian is doing very well. I wish you were in Bangalore also, and you would have taken away some burden of my real estate sales also for Bhartiya. But I look forward to kind of welcoming you at the airport whenever you come next, because finally it's all about sales in the real estate world. My question to you is that, real estate is one of the industry which is employing maximum marketing channels, and performance marketing is playing a very crucial role in today's world. So what is performance marketing or lead generation according to you? Is it about being more creative, or is it about following a process, or how do you look at multiple channels which are there, and what are your views on this overall subject?
So thank you, Ashwinder, for giving this opportunity and starting this from me. Certainly, based on 6 years of experience was journey. When we started, also digital was just about to begin in real estate, and today, the last year turnover was what, 8,200 crore. So certainly the digital marketing. So we have a member of 29-member team in marketing department, and out of which 7 people are looking into the digital marketing. Answering it to your questions, that what is an importance to give the process of performance marketing, or is it only good to be creative? I'll put it this way, that certainly a real estate being a high value ticket size, whenever we are in the mandate business, so when we take the project on a mandate basis to sell of any developer, certainly a budget is derived that, okay, 2% is for marketing, out of which how much is going to be going for digital. And the beauty of digital marketing is performance based. So advertiser is only getting paid for every results, like whether it is impression, click, inquiry, or the leads, or the walking which happen at the site. Now, certainly a process of identifying the right audience, the target group, based on the experience and the data which we have already, is very, very critical, because that will set the base for any digital marketing agency which we appoint to do the marketing of our product and reach to the client. So process is very, very important. But at the same time, Ashwinder, the creative, we cannot ignore it. The content which, the earlier group were discussing about is equally important. Like few days back, I was just discussing with my digital marketing head that why one particular project is doing so well, where in Dadar, apartment was 7 crore plus, 2 deals got closed without visiting the site. Whereas we keep, because the content and the creative was so strong for that product, that it has lead to a good quality target audience, which was defined in the process of digital marketing. And we had a conversion of 2 deals, despite of the ticket size is very high. So giving equal importance to both, I will say 70-80% is process, which is very important. But at the same time, a good content, a good offer, a good spot closure offers, or how we call it in real estate language, can always give a good quality leads to the digital marketing team for making follow-up and pushing them for the site visit.
Very nice, very interesting. I think one of the very interesting points that Jayesh you've kind of raised. I just moved to Arun, and I want to know from Arun. Arun, what is your perspective on this entire topic before we get into other conversations? because you kind of look at a 360-degree perspective in flow reality. So if you can quickly, in a brief, kind of explain your perspective.
Absolutely. Am I audible?
Yes.
Good afternoon, everyone. So, Jayesh Bhai did brilliantly summarize that. So, the key takeaway is that you need to be creative where you need to be creative, and you need to be disciplined in process where you need to be disciplined. For example, sourcing. When it comes to sourcing, as Jayesh Bhai said, one aspect of it is advertising, the content creation, and exciting a customer and creating desire at that level. Second aspect is sourcing of a channel partner. You need to be creative there also. Of course, the content plays a role there, but it's also about how you engage with them, how you excite them, how you build relationship with them. Third part is the pre-sales part. When a client is on the line after seeing everything in the website or Zoom, he's on the line. There is an element of creativity coming there also. This is what you mean as the sales gimmick or the sales what do you call gift of gab, whatever you call. So there are various elements of creativity according to me, not just at the marketing creative, but at the channel partner level, how can you be creative? At digital level also, while being process following process, you can still be creative. For example, how do we retarget certain audiences in a creative way? How do you follow certain people who have searched about your project in Google? How do you follow them on some other sites in a more creative way? So there is element of creativity within the process itself that we follow. And it is not limited to the advertising alone. That's a very important part. But in addition to that, all aspects of sourcing, distribution, all aspects of pre-sales, sales, engagement, including how do you get the check out of the customer is also an element of creativity. So both have to go hand in hand. If you fail on one, the entire exercise is going to be futile.
Thank you, Arun. You rounded up pretty well and covered some of the major aspects. Abhishek, coming to you, I would really want to know, and I'm quite interested in kind of understanding that we see most of the firms are rapidly adopting, conversational AI. What do you think are the advantages and disadvantages of conversational AI, in your opinion? Does it become too impersonal at times, or is it able to kind of deliver the objective that a business is trying to achieve through that? And what are the objectives people have when they are looking at adopting this kind of a technology?
Well, thank you for that, Ashwinder, and nice to meet you all. Happy to be here. Good afternoon. So, Ashwinder, it's a great question, actually. And we have been grappling with, a very specific type of application / solution that we have been working with here as well. So I would like to actually take this up and break it up into two parts, right? So there is obviously conversational AI, which is everything around artificial intelligence and all the fuss around the natural programming language and what it entails, chatbots, what you have made, and how realtors are now creating a very interesting globalized platform in trying to solve this problem in real estate. The other part where I would like to stress more on is where all of this is also moving into a 360-degree customer experience technology approach. So while conversational AI addresses a very simple, straightforward solution, where at least where I believe the advantages being that, it is designed to assist clients for a property, helping them with giving absolutely unsolicited attention and experience. That is really where the crux of all of this started, right? And all the drama around conversational AI really started. And then now, since you all would agree, or all marketers and experts in your own, domains, and you've been grappling with this every single day, almost 71% of these type of marketers are now concluded that AI will be helpful, which means that if I want to smooth out virtual scheduling aspect, right? So that someone has visited, you have this constant, I actually followed some of the conversation in the previous discussion where they were talking about, how content marketing is so is changing in real time so much, where people are constantly upgrading their landing pages or their websites or things of that nature. But how is that really solving, a real problem? Where if I take you into a landing page to any of my campaigns, and if I convert this into an actual qualified lead, as an example, right? That's what we all are really working towards. That's why the spends attribute. So how is the conversational AI bit, if you're talking about chatbots specifically, how is it helping the sales and marketing folks, like all of us here in our teams, increase the quality of their work, right? So today, I feel that it's solving a lot of problems faster. You are able to use your highly paid employees, which is your high digital marketing teams and sales teams, to really work on staying busy outside the simple customer, incidents or escalations. That is the most important thing with AI. Some disadvantages are that the customization and integration of such, applications is always a tardy process. And that is what creates a lot of apprehension in our customers' minds, at least with the real estate companies that we work with and we talk to on a day in, day out. And then, of course, they are not able to rely on a very high qualified lead gen process. So while customers are able to get prompt responses through AI, the experience becomes where the sharing of data, like, for example, if you're on a chatbot, sure, I'm having a 24/7 chatbot conversation with any XYZ company, but I'm still restricted to the kind of data I'm able to share, especially when you deal with new launch or relaunch projects in predominantly in the residential environment today. I'm very limited to how I'm able to help a customer visualize that project, only through a chatbot, right? So I think that piece of AI is yet to be cracked, I feel, and I think that's a very interesting time where customer experience technology piece comes into play really well, where you're engaging a potential client towards very interesting aspects. So as an example, today, what do? We evaluate a customer on a maturity level in 3 parts, right? So we say, okay, can we implement, which means that it's a new solution for a first-time mover, right? So if you take Bhartiya city in your case, or you take Lodha, or you take, Prestige, Oberoi, anyone you take, right? Or do you modernize? Do you replace an existing solution that you're already implementing as something you're doing for customer experience? Or you supplement it, right? Which means that you enhance that solution. So that's the way I see any type of AI, chatbot, customer experience tech being implemented in a company. And I'd like to conclude this by saying that there are a few aspects. One is, of course, integration we talked about. So if it is not seamlessly integrating with your, your CRMs or your Salesforce tools for that matter, it is going to be redundant again. Data breakthrough. So it has to, the client today is definitely not the patient one, right? So they want to ensure that, while they are waiting for a detailed, explanation on the property, how are you helping them visualize that piece, and how well is that data or visualization curated for the customer? That's a very important piece. And then, of course, that kind of results in good qualified lead gen. So I know my sales teams and marketing teams are having a much higher level, more mature conversations with customers when we are trying to convert that opportunity into a sale. So I would think that that's my take on where we are with artificial intelligence versus customer experience tech, but that's where we're at.
Thank you, Abhishek, for your insightful comments.
Thank you.
My next question is to Manoj. And Manoj, this is something which I have always been thinking a lot about. And I would want your perspective that what is the difference when you are serving a digital lead versus a non-digital lead? Is there a difference? And if there is a difference, how does the process pan out, and how do you look at it from beginning to the end?
Right. So good afternoon, everyone. And thanks, Ashwinder, for this question. I'm not sure if this question was identified for me, but It so happens that I started my real estate journey with managing the pre-sales function for a realty company. And this is something that I started working on very early in real estate. So I believe every lead should be served the moment it is received in the CRM system. However, there are certain sources or leads that are generated through a certain source which enjoy a higher conversion percentage. So, for example, leads that come in through, say, Google, for that matter, where a user has gone ahead and searched for the brand or the specific project, they tend to convert higher at maybe a 2x or a 3x premium. Leads wherein the user himself keys in his name, email, and contact details again tend to convert higher, because that's the effort taken by the consumer to actually key in details. Similarly, again, talking about incoming calls coming in from a newspaper advertisement tend to convert higher than some of the other ATL sources. Having said that, overall, it is extremely important that we timely service every lead, because with passing time, the customer who's probably, or the consumer who's probably searching us or probably has seen a Facebook ad might forget about the specific ad after a few minutes. So it's extremely important that the faster you get in touch with the customer, the better the recall. And it's also about the timely follow-up of these leads. So most of the times when you have contact centers, it is also important that it's not just the first interaction or the first time that we service the lead. It is also about how frequently we follow up with the customer, and we ensure that the engagement is built on. There's always a chance that a consumer has spoken with us maybe on one of the weekdays, and most of these customers would end up being free for a site visit over the weekend. So it's not just the first day when you connect with them, or the first few minutes in which you connect with them, but it's also that constant follow-up that you do with that specific customer. How do you keep engaging with that customer again? And that's where the digital space has made it very exciting, right from dropping them some imagery of the project, dropping them an e-brochure over a WhatsApp or on an email. Those kind of small interactions that a pre-sales or a telesales person can actually do with the consumer actually enhances the overall the connect with the customer, and there's no disconnect there. And by the time the consumer is at the project or at the sales office, the consumer is much more informed about the project. He's ripe. He's pre-cooked for him to come and visit the project. So again, it depends on how frequently we connect with the customer before the site visit. So the follow-up is extremely important. Also the quality of conversation. So like Arun mentioned, it is about being creative even in your conversations while you're interacting with the consumer. So the telesales person or the pre-sales person, whoever is managing that specific inquiry, needs to be well trained on the product, has to be able to pass on the right kind of information, also extract a lot of information from the customer, right from understanding what is the need that the customer has. Are we pitching him or her the right product? Maybe cross pitching a different product which the customer is not inquired for, but which fits the requirement of the customer. That again makes a lot of difference. Again, the persistence and the zeal with which the telesales agent would reach out to the consumer, that makes a lot of difference. So broadly, that's very important. In the contact center matrix that we generally look at, for better lead servicing, the average lead servicing time should not be beyond 5 to 7 minutes. And that is something that we watch very closely at Arvind SmartSpaces. So right from the time a lead comes into the system, at least during the working hours, we try to ensure that every lead is serviced in a 5 to 7 minute time frame. Even leads that have actually come in overnight, we ensure that upon start of business, we at least give them a call within the first 10 minutes of opening shops.
Excellent, Manoj. It is sales written all over you. The way you are talking certainly shows that you work tremendously at a grassroots level, and and I'm sure your organization is benefiting a lot from that experience. I would want to come to Arun on this, and Mohit, I will come to you after this, because I just wanted to connect this question with Arun, because Arun has been a senior leader with a reputed developer also, and is now in the consulting side of the work and doing multiple other things, including sales. Arun, what is your view on this important subject in terms of the way I would kind of change it is that what is the best way to serve a digital lead, and how complicated or simplistic this process can be to drive maximum productivity out of it? Manoj has covered some aspect of it, but I want you to cover the other aspect of
Yeah.
it.
So Manoj articulated quite beautifully, quite impressed by as Ashwinder rightly said, it was sales written all over, the entire process, adherence and all these things. The only small point that I would like to add is, for example, if I say, Arun ran faster than Manoj, or both of us contested in a race. Arun reached 5 seconds earlier. The question is, who runs faster? Everybody will say Arun ran faster. Then when I say that Manoj was carrying a 10 kilogram bag with him or 20 kilogram bag with him, who delivered better? Perhaps it's Manoj. When you again ask a question like, but Arun recently was unwell for 2 months, and he is then within a span of 20 days, he has practiced and achieved this milestone. Then again, if you ask, the answer will tilt back to Arun. Then again, if you give one more something about Manoj, one more variable about Manoj, people will think Manoj has delivered better. So the key question here is not A or B. The key question here is how much context you have about the lead. So in digital, for example, the biggest advantage of which unfortunately real estate people, including me, are not using is the contextual information that can accompany every digital lead. And for example, when you say that this guy has inquired from Facebook, but he has also spent 1 hour on your website yesterday. Plus, he has also, spent 2 minutes on your section or the page where the pricing information was given. When I add multiple contextual information to it, I suddenly know that, hey, this is a hot lead. This is not just a mere Facebook lead I have got. Similarly, when a CP is giving, a channel partner is giving us a lead, that is the only reason why CP leads convert better is because generally the channel partners give you more context about the customer, that this customer is, he has been inquiring in these 3 projects, uska Karle mein nahi hua, embassy Lake Terraces ko jamega hai, he has got the budget. He's having this kind of job. He has just sold an apartment there and he has got the cash in the account. So what happens is digital gives you a lot of learning about the customer. For example, if you do a geo-targeting lead and if we know that the person has inquired in Facebook while he was driving in Electronic City, if I get this much information, I can be certain that he was in Electronic City probably for a property hunt and he has seen your hoarding and then probably inquired on Facebook. This could be one of the results. So similarly, the how to add up this piece, what Manoj said is all about lead servicing. It's absolutely bang on. But if you add the contextual information along with the lead servicing, the creativity, then the person's creativity can work. This ये lead को ऐसे probe करके A बोलना है ये lead को और ये lead को A बोलना है. Somebody needs to be told a certain language, somebody needs to be spoken to in a certain other language. So when the process and the information, the data, the process and the creativity comes, that is when the game completely changes. Digital lead, all of us know that it's been the most hated, especially Facebook lead. Everybody says it's all junk. But I think we should all take enough steps to ensure that we have some contextual information also coming. We should also tell our agencies that these 4-5 information also you try to give me. And we should have the necessary programming or the plugins, as they call it, into our website. And then the story will suddenly unravel and into a beautiful one. So that's my 2 cents.
Actually, Sapna and Tripti have kept the name very right, art or a science, because context is art and process is science, and you've covered both of them very well. And I love your structured thought process, Arun, around this
Thank you. Thank you.
so very interesting topic. And I have one very interesting question for Jayesh that I'm going to ask after I cover Mohit. So Mohit, thanks for your patience.
Thank you.
As they say, the best is kept for the last. What I want to understand from you, Mohit, is that you look after luxury.
Correct.
And, when it comes to lead generation, I want to understand how challenging is the digital lead generation in the luxury space. Technology like virtual tours and various other AI driven features help you in generating a higher quality of lead in the luxury segment? And how do you see overall luxury segment panning out vis-a-vis the digital lead generation function? Maybe we'll come back to him. I think he might have to re-log in. Jayesh ji, I have one important question, especially for you. One, I want to understand, why is the world so attracted towards mandate vis-a-vis this is a personal question that I want to ask you, vis-a-vis the open market brokerage that I got into, but I also did a little bit of mandate when I was in Anarok. But one, I want to understand from you, and I more importantly want to understand, how does the digital lead generation aspect, does it have a role in the mandate world, or is it only a open property sales business where digital marketing plays a bigger role in lead generation? If you can, give your detailed insight into both these aspects.
So I love that things when you said it is a personal thing, but asking on the professional, I would love to answer both the way. Which one you like to know first, the first question or the second one?
I would love the first and then the second, because then it will create the context to it.
A mandate sales, I will put it, we started 6 years back with 6 people. Today we are 850 plus. So certainly a niche which was identified during those years. I will give you a very quick, in a very small discussion, quickly, that category B developer, which are performing so well, is 65% of Bombay's real estate, but nobody knew them. And nobody professional like me after 13 years of experience would have joined them on a job or on a pay scale, because certainly CTC which we had during those years was high. Now, understanding that there is a great potential, there is a need, they have a track record, they have a delivery track record, their financial closure, discipline, process, approval, everything in place. Only thing which was missing is that sales, which is more scientific process, which you rightly said, half an hour before, is the key for achieving the overall number and the sales as a target. We identified this need, we understood, and we actually went ahead to start the Guardians. So mandate sales is going to be a future as far as the the game of real estate is concerned. How a developer is outsourcing the contractor, architectural, purchase, and various other function, except one, which is approval, because approval is always close to developers' heart, and they have kept it with them. Sales and marketing as a function is already been outsourced to various agencies like Guardians, Anarok, and Xanadu. I don't mind taking names of, they are my two competitor, but they are brothers to us, and we do a fabulous business in Bombay. Answering it to your second question, how a digital marketing is very, very critical for a mandate player like us. Now, or maybe any developer who is doing a free sale. So digital marketing is unavoidable. Everybody is on smartphone. Everybody wants to buy, see, at least not touch, because that's not possible in digital marketing, but experience, get the information about any product online at a click of a button. So do real estate. Now, whether a developer does digital marketing through his own team, through his own sales and marketing, they will be doing it. And for a player like us, who is a mandate player, all the more important, because when we have more than 28 projects to handle at a time, we cannot go away from digital marketing in terms of creating the lead, Second, I think somewhere you asked me the question that a broker doing a digital marketing to generate the leads versus we doing a digital marketing to generate more leads. Now, example, if we as a mandate player do not do digital marketing spend on a particular project or taking on a mandate basis, the cost per lead will go so high for a broker who would love to work on a project. So to help those broker who are actually contributing to the project, we also have to spend on a digital marketing in a much more aggressive manner, which will bring that 360-degree surround to the project in that particular micro market, in that particular target audience. To an extent, answering it to your question, Ashwinder, before we start doing any project sale or giving information to the broker, we call the meeting with them, and to the identified potential broker, we give a good insight about who is the target audience, what is the ticket size, which geographical location you should tap in the digital marketing, start spending when we go aggressive, at the same time. So it is like win-win situation for both of us. No doubt the lead may click to me, our platform also, or to the broker's platform also. In the formula is whichever broker has got the site visit, the customer has been tagged to that broker. So certainly unavoidable, and whether a developer does, which we do as a mandate sales, will definitely help to overall broker digital activation which happens.
But my question is that if you as a mandate holder are spending on digital lead generation and you are also aggregating the broker who is also doing lead generation, will the cost per lead for the broker who is also in turn selling for you not go up very high?
In fact, it comes down. It is the other way around. If I don't spend money on the digital marketing as a mandate player, because the limited, suppose even if he spent 2 lakh rupee or a 1 lakh rupee, the limited leads will come, and certainly the visibility aspect, brings it's a very small reach by spending only 1 or 2 lakh. Understood. The moment we as a developer or as a mandate player start spending say 10 lakh rupee in the first 2 weeks or 3 weeks, that gives a good surrounding effect to the overall audience which you want to target, and their cost per leads actually goes down. So everywhere we have experience, when we go low, their cost of leads go high.
Interesting. I thought the other way around, because I thought there are few keywords and more people are bidding towards those keywords. But I will kind of come back to this, but very interesting perspective. Mohit, coming back to you.
Yeah, sorry, there was a technical glitch.
No problem. Coming back to you, so I would like to understand from you, Mohit, that when it comes to lead generation, how different is lead generation for luxury projects, and what is the role of technology like virtual tours and chatbots assisting you in generating leads? And how do you look at the overall digital landscape of lead generation in the luxury segment of real estate?
Sure. So Ashwinder, it is very different when it comes to luxury. The primary reason being you are catering to a different set of target audience altogether. The psychology differs. So ideally, if you see how do you track performance of a marketing campaign with respect to a mid and affordable ticket size or maybe a luxury ticket size will definitely differ, because the parameters will be different. So as your target audience differs, so I'll begin with maybe a mid or affordable ticket size of around 50 lakhs to 2 crore rupees. So my target audience is ideally an individual who is a salaried guy earning between 5 lakh rupees to 50 lakh rupees per annum, or maybe a small business guy who is in the same income bracket. So he's looking for a home or maybe investment point of view, and he's very clear. He has identified a location. He knows in that location he's looking for a specific typology, a 2 BHK, 3 BHK or anything in a specific budget which matches his requirement. So he already knows there are 4 to 5 projects in that micro market which will suit his requirement. So ideally in my marketing campaign, to attract him as my customer, so my performance will be evaluated on the conversion. So basically, in my marketing campaign, the number of leads I receive, the number of walk-ins I receive, and the number of bookings I receive, which can be tracked in this kind of a ticket size. But wherein when you come to a luxury ticket size, my target audience is very different. He's already an established guy who has emerged in life, What he's looking for, though definitely he's looking for a home, pricing and payment schedule does matter to him also. But what matters to him? So when, let's take it, if I go with a digital campaign, so even for him to look at my digital campaign, so my focus will be more onto brand, more onto the product, more onto the experience, so that he gets excited and maybe he inquires about the same. So when my luxury client inquires about the same, normally in most of the cases, he will never inquire directly. As he's already established, he will have a secretary, or maybe he will have an assistant. He will share those details with the concerned assistant or secretary. That person will go online, inquire about the product, putting in his or her details. And then ultimately, when the concerned individual get the details, he will share with my end user. And again, my end user, after evaluating the details, he will have an influencer in between. So the influencer will be one of the channel partners with whom he has been dealing since quite some time. And why channel partner? Because number one, he has been dealing with him, so there is a trust factor. Number two, that channel partner will be working with him and guiding him with respect to multiple properties. And number three, he wants comfort. Comfort is his first priority. So he will be more comfortable only to come for a site visit maybe once or twice. And secondly, to come for the registration and to book a flat. So in fact, when the conversation started, as Jayesh rightly said, the customer experience with respect to digitally, how important it is. So in fact, I would like to appreciate Jayesh's campaign. In fact, Jayesh, I've shared your campaign with multiple people. I saw the same on LinkedIn. In fact, everyone present over here should look at the campaign. It is so beautifully carved from Bombay Realty, which Jayesh has done. So ideally, if you look at that video, so it will give you an example of a channel partner meet itself. So in fact, I believe that video will end the channel partner meet. So it is more onto a customer and plus a channel partner focus. So like how we used to do a channel partner meet in any of the product launches. So we display the product, we display the features, the proposition. And at the same point in time, as most of us would have done a channel partner meet. So the way we used to project, the best part I liked about the presentation is that how we display a product, like we display a price, maybe 100 rupees. Then we say, oh, this price is a little higher. So to create excitement, then we finally come up to 90 and then say 80 rupees is the final price. That is what they have done in their presentation. And the product is so beautifully carved with the animation in the background and two individuals actually presenting it in the form of a dance. So that is what matters, to create the brand, to create the product, to create the experience. And that is, and anyone who looks a campaign like this will get excited and will want to inquire about the project. And again, to come back to the question with respect to track performance of the lead. So obviously the lead generation works in a very different fashion. In a mid to affordable segment, there are three important factors: price, payment schedule, and the ticket size. Wherein in luxury as a product, there are three important factors: brand, customer experience, and the product. So over here, if you track the performance with respect to the number of leads received vis-a-vis the marketing campaign, you will never get an actual number, not exactly the actual number, because even if you get a number, so maybe it could not be the end user who has inquired about it. It is the assistant who has entered his details, and ultimately the customer end user is coming through a different source. So the number of the actual conversion of the marketing campaign with respect to walk-in bookings will not be an exact number. So to conclude this, the lead generation in luxury works in a very different manner, and the most.
I think unfortunately Mohit's internet connection is not that great. Maybe we'll get back to him again. I quickly want to ask Abhishek, your perspective.
Landscaping partner, maybe showing the facade, creating the experience, virtual presentation. Yeah, sorry. With respect to virtual presentation and with respect to artificial intelligence, so ideally it used to never work in luxury, and it was never even practiced in the past, except for sharing a few videos on WhatsApp with the customers. But I still remember in the month of April, May 2020, when the lockdown actually started. So the virtual thing came into play because it was impossible for us to go out and meet the customer and even to take the customer to the site. So the only option was, and the need was being created to create a virtual site experience, as in the live site experience, as in when a customer walks into the site. So right from entering the gate to taking an elevator, to going to the amenities level, to going to the show flat. So exactly what a customer does when he enters a physical site, the same thing we need to do it in the form of a video, which worked in most of the cases, but it worked more in a small ticket size. And that has been proven, especially in the month of April, May, when the customers were not visiting at all. It was not allowed as per the government. So I still remember I was on a WhatsApp group of my organization, wherein every half an hour, there used to be a EOI or a check in a small ticket size, which used to be closed. And I was thinking that when will it happen in luxury? Because actually there was no traction, zero traction in luxury in the month of April and May 2020. But since June 2020, the scenario got reversed. In fact, there was so much of traction in luxury, and that was because all the virtual experience which we created, so all the clients had already gone through the project. They had a clear idea about the project, but ultimately the final closure happened when they physically visited the project and they closed. So artificial intelligence, I will say virtual tools might work slightly in case of luxury as a product. It will be an influencer, but ultimately the booking happens when the customer visits the site. And with respect to chat box and so I feel.
No, I understand. I understand, Mohit. I think you have put it very nicely, and because you are right there and you are driving this, we understand what is the balance and the difference that is coming out. I will come back to you. A quick question that I want to ask Abhishek and Manoj both. I want their different views because Abhishek comes more from a tech perspective and Manoj more from a sales and a business perspective. Abhishek, by when do you think is it possible, or is it possible that real estate residential sales will start happening 100% online, which is you generate the lead online, you do a virtual tour, you implement various technology and digital tools, and you get into a Zoom call, you show the inventory, you show the overall site, and you close the deal end to end. When do you think this will happen as a BAU process in our lives? Or only our children or their children will be able to see this?
I was somehow expecting this to come my way, this question. So thank you for that. No, I think, Dr. Mohit had a very, very interesting point. So I will actually, sort of converge this question of yours with his pointer on where he talked about specifically how the virtual experience or virtual reality in the world of luxury real estate, how does it work? And then I will address, Ashwinder, your question too, because I feel it's a double-edged sword here in one way, right? So at the end of the day, see what happens is, and as Dr. Mohit said, see, we had a very interesting, take towards this during COVID. And what we launched was, we launched a virtual sales office or a virtual marketing office solution. And that was our sort of take to this problem, because we saw it really prevalent, especially between the first and the second wave of COVID. And what we realized is, and we had obviously worked with one of the premium developers there in Mumbai at the time, where we said we are going to create a digital replica. So a complete digital twin of your site office or your sales office. So we took the entire square footage the way it is. So let's say they said, we want a 10,000 square feet built up virtual sales office. Now, of course, virtually you're not limited to the space, right? Now, the beauty of that was we are able to take in all the collaterals that they have already invested in, which have created some form of cost of lead to a cost of site visit to a cost of booking, whatever you have made. So we created a very interesting concept, and we reutilized all their existing brand videos, project videos, new tower launches videos, built an online experience center, where, what you, in the physical world, you would have a scale-up model, right? In the virtual world, you would have essentially a very interesting way of seeing the walkthrough of the spaces. So we brought in the real spaces into the virtual world as well. So it was a very interesting take. And in fact, through this platform E4M, we also won an award for that particular category.
So you think, Abhishek, you think this is possible?
So I feel it is, I don't think it is there yet as far as this is concerned. simply because what we are doing, at least what I know in the customer experience tech standpoint, you can take it to a point, like I'll give a very realistic example, right? Today, let's say you're a new launch project, right? You're building a 40-acre project, residential project. You're a new launch project. You take a potential customer, a salesperson contacts you, you take the potential customer to the site. In my world, if you don't have the show flat ready, you don't, obviously the landscaping, a lot of the work is still going on, it's still under construction. How much do you tell a customer, imagine this and imagine that, right? That's the perspective I bring, with this.
Right.
So what we do in virtual is you bring that imagination through the architectural drawings, structural drawings, everything. You bring it into a nice virtual format, a well-created format where you can show all the project visualizations, where you can show the interior spaces in a good, curated, navigated manner. So you're navigating the customer. If you're able to achieve that well, and if you can embed that well with your C4Cs or inventory systems, where the apartment finders are working well, you're able to embed that, and then you have a good booking engine online. I feel, if not for the whole property value, at least on a per square foot level, it's achievable. And if you can transact that, I'm sure we are getting there with that.
That's interesting. Manoj, I want to know your perspective that will it be possible that starting from generating leads online, how do you think this journey is going to pan out where we start closing everything online?
So Ashwinder, I mean, one of our group companies also happens to sell fabrics or textiles. So about 10 years back, if anyone would have said that, a shirt or a trouser could be sold online, not many would really believe it. Today, one of our group companies, the Arvind Fashions business, does about 1,000 crore of monthly sale of our garments online. So that's one part of the business which was unimaginable about 10 years back. Today in the real estate space, again, there are certain organizations that have already imbibed this. In fact, we have just piloted something on the same lines where, we've launched an end-to-end digital sales platform for one of our projects called Arvind Bel Air in Bangalore, where a consumer can see the project digitally or rather take a virtual tour, get into every typology, whether it's a 2-bed or a 3-bed, can also go to the window and actually get an actual image or actual view from the first floor to the 5th floor to the 10th floor to the 15th floor. So a view of what will be the actual view from your unit from various floors, that is pretty much available. They can actually check in each tower what is the availability on a every floor basis. So that's the level of digitalization of the availability of units, and the actual look and feel of the product is pretty much available online. Today, most of the times when a consumer visits the sales office also, we actually now use this tool to show them how or what will be the view from the 10th floor of a unit if they're looking at buying a 10th floor unit. In fact, in the last 1 month, we've concluded about 7 transactions, all digitally end to end, right from a consumer coming on our website to discussing that with a team. So we've set up a 3-member team that only specializes in attending customers online or taking them through a virtual tour. This specific team is based out of our head office. They conduct Zoom meetings. They go ahead and explain the product to the consumer and they're about helping them book the unit. Yes, there is a certain so what we've tried to do is to make it more believable. What we've done is we've kept a very small booking amount of 20,000 rupees, and we offer the consumer to also come over to the project if required. Maybe it's out of these 7 customers, 4 of them are based out of Dubai. So we also offered the customer to actually come down. We gave them an extended cancellation period of 30 days. So, they could actually come down if they wanted, also have a touch and feel of the product before going ahead with the transaction. But to answer your question, this is pretty much doable. It's already happening. In fact, to quote one of the projects that was launched by the House of Abhinandan Lodha a while back, where they sold 10 to 20 lakh ticket plots in the outskirts of the city, pretty much about 1,000 crores of business was done without consumers actually visiting the site. So it is pretty much there. It's right in front of us. It's about how we imbibe this and how we start working on this.
How we scale it and how we broad basis. So great. It's been very interesting. I want to go to Arun. And this question is a common question that I want to ask all my esteemed panelists who bring a very diverse and a qualitative grassroots perspective to this very important lead generation, converting opportunities into sales perspective. And will be great for the audience to know. Arun, when do you think the digital experience, which has become so important, what do you think the digital experience and the online lead generation, what was the tipping point for this, that suddenly we see that, earlier 20% was digital spend and 80% was offline spend. Then it became equal. And in certain cases, we've seen all launches are happening digitally. So what do you think has been the tipping point that made digital lead generation so important? And what is the future that looks like? A few minutes and then we'll cover everybody before we conclude the session.
Yeah, so according to me, one of the main reasons why digital took a prominence is because the earlier marketing, whatever from 1980s to 2010, whatever it was done, the measurability part of our marketing spends, the ability to track what was the conversions and ability to track an ROI or a cost per lead, all these were quite not there. It was all about spray and pray approach. You spray it on Times of India jacket, and you hope that you get calls. And if you don't get calls, we don't know what is the reason, and you don't have a second chance. You have lost big money, and next 3 months you need to do 10 sales to generate another enough money for the next ad that you can do. So this was probably what, at least from a real estate point of view, this is what is going on. I remember in 2008 or 9, I was also part of the team in Lodha, which we were trying to do the first, I think, page 3 ad, full page after a long time by any developer. And a lot of debate was going on, and whether we should get at least 50 bookings to ensure that 30 lakhs was the time cost of page 3 at that time. So we were doing some calculations saying 40-50 bookings should happen in the next 10 days to cover this. Otherwise, we are gone. So the problem is digital completely broke this this spray and pray approach into something measurable. Cost per lead, 1,000, 2,000, whether it works or not, nobody cares. But the moment you say 1,000, it's like a penny stock. So the moment you say cost per lead is 850, everybody is interested in putting money. And because everybody is putting money on digital, what happens is the market grew and customers are also adopting, and other developers are also following the same bandwagon, and the industry grew into a large extent. And the fundamental reason is measurability. Around 2012-13 is when I think the tipping point slowly started. Maybe 14-15 is when it became it kind of overtook the offline spends from a real estate industry point of view. And for FMCG, of course, they cannot do digital because their brand recall is something very.
Fine, Arun. This was more on the real estate. It's very helpful. Jayesh bhai, you have a minute to kind of give your perspective on this very important question, that what was the tipping point and how do you see the future of online lead generation?
So if I summarize this, Ashwinder, that a right product offering with an excellent, adding it to what the other panelist was saying, that when our ticket size is smaller, the chances of people buying is higher. Why somebody bought 10 and 15 lakhs online plot, located 3 kilometers away from here? Because for Bombay people, 10-15 lakhs buying a land from a brand like Lodha was a no-brainer. They bought it. But if I want to buy 1.5 crore, 2 crore flat, the chances of online purchase, I don't see in the distance future also. It will take a time of its own. For sure, but a good product, when on good pricing opportunity, when reached to the mass, if the cost of leads or the advertiser which are charging will drop their pricing proposition, for sure there would be a great awareness of the product will happen. but the purchase will maximum happen once they make the site visit. And adding it to the last, which I want to make a point is that the COVID-like situation help us people to understand the platform, the power of digital marketing, where so many virtual tours, Zoom calls, we did with brokers, we did with customer. We managed to convince customer 80% that this is the right product for you if you're looking for in Thane. But unless it doesn't come to the site, the chances of conversion still will remain doubtful.
Thank you. Very interesting. Mohit, what is your view on this subject, this topic?
Ashwinder ji, I believe digital will work because it is a mix of lifestyle and need. So lifestyle always keeps on changing.
Yeah. Tell me something. My video is muted.
Lifestyle keeps on changing as the technology goes on getting advanced. So like from Doordarshan,
no,
so there is some
Mr. Sai, yeah.
So lifestyle keeps on changing. So like if you see in our childhood, there was Doordarshan, then came cable TV, then came computers, which we never used in our college days. And now it is only mobile. So we are so habituated to mobile.
Maybe I didn't use it in my college days. You would have used it, yeah? You're a young guy.
No, I also not used it. That time hardly there a computer. So today everything is mobile. 70-80% of our time, even when we are on a bed, even when we are in office, even when we are traveling, we are always so habituated to mobile. And ultimately what we do on mobile is we search. So ultimately when we are there on the internet and based on our pattern, based on our demographics, based on our style, all these apps like Facebook, Google and all, they take our data and ultimately they pitch us the different products which we like. And that is how digital will play a very, very important role. At the same point in time, the need was created in COVID, wherein we started using Google Pay and all that. I used to never use the Google Pay before COVID. Now even a vegetable vendor is using a Google Pay. So that is when the need was created.
Understand, Mohit. Thank you so much. Abhishek, quickly your perspective on what is the future of digital marketing and what was the tipping point that it has become such an important aspect for lead generation?
Absolutely. So as a professional and individual, we're always on a digital first agenda today. So I feel that if you have a truly, for real estate, if you have a truly well orchestrated 360-degree approach to whether it's the web or at the site, if that can be done really well, especially, and that's one of our real larger fortes now in the industry, I feel this can be really achieved. Like, I think what Manoj mentioned was very, very exciting. Manoj, congratulations on that piece. I think we're going to be definitely talking post this meet. I think there is a very exciting time for such ticket sizes and such type of transactions to happen. So I feel, yes, digital first is the way to go. Launch excellence is where, with tech is where all of this is at. So I feel the focus is towards new launch and relaunch projects. That's where all of this lies with real estate. And if that can be done really well with a 360-degree approach, digital is definitely something to look forward to in the next decade, 2 decades for sure.
Manoj, you mentioned that you're already selling a lot of stuff online, which is very heartening to know. Anything that you foresee that is foreseen in the future, which might be a disruption in the online digital lead generation space? Something that you think will disrupt?
So, Ashwinder, I mean, we just announced our annual results a couple of days back. In fact, we did, for the last year, we've done almost 40% of our sales through digital channels, which is probably one of the highest in the industry.
Wow.
Talking about the digital media, like Abhishek also mentioned, eventually, I mean, the whole world is moving in that direction. With the internet and smartphone being practically in everyone's hand, the amount of time that we spend on the mobile phone is increasing by the day. Social media consumes large amount of the time spent on a mobile phone today. Eventually, the search for a real estate purchase is today starting on your Googles or your property portals or your website. So that is the reality of life today. What can disrupt this is, how we become more creative in terms of, making the customer believe and, actually visualize a product. For a product like yourself, I was, in fact, I visited your product in my last trip in Bangalore, and I was awestruck with a product like yours, I think, it is going to be very easy for people to be able to believe what the product is all about. And if, the right kind of, digital marketing can be done for a product like yours, I feel, there'll be a chance that you would end up selling most of your stock virtually, and maybe the reliance on the other mediums could actually reduce.
Thank you, Manoj. It's been an excellent panel, and I'm delighted, and the way organizers have selected the panel. If I have to conclude, and let me start with Jayesh. Jayesh mentioned that process is very important and is 70%, and rest is content. Mandate sales, according to him, is going to be the future. CPL actually goes down for individual brokers, which was a learning for me, when it is supported by a high budget campaign from a developer or a mandate. Jayesh, thank you for this learning, because I always thought it the otherwise. Arun mentioned that you have to be creative across the stage while following the process. His focus on the context of the lead was a big learning for me, and definitely something to ponder about, and how we can generate more contextual information about every lead, and make it the main reason for its conversion. Abhishek definitely advantages, spoke about the role of conversational AI in getting a lead qualification. Prompt responses on FAQs, etc. are important. He said that customization and integration and data visualization is not that easy, and somebody who can do that can really make this a far more productive asset. So great insights from you, Abhishek. Manoj, mentioned some very insightful things, like the customer, how the customer is registering himself, and how do we kind of service them. What is the response time in reaching to a lead? What should be our pre-sales and post-sales engagement? Cross-sales should be done with smartness. Very grassroots driven points which can really help us in conversion. And he mentioned that we have to reach a lead within 5 to 7 minutes of it getting generated. So thank you, Manoj, for these aspects, other than the various other things that you shared. And last but not the least, Mohit mentioned that the target audience of luxury is very different. Luxury is not BAU lead generation, but far more, lot of contextual work has to go through it. And how we track the performance of a campaign in luxury should be very different than how we would track it for an affordable or a mid-size or a premium project. Very insightful point, Mohit, because according to him, the success of a digital online lead generation might not be just closure, because the gestation period is very long. The quality of customer is very different, and there are many intermediaries between that customer and the developer. Yeah. So overall, a very fruitful session where there was personally a lot of learning for me. Thank you everyone for your fantastic and comments and energetic participation. I look forward being in touch with you surely over a longer period of time, and do some really good discussions around this. Over to you, Sapna.
Yeah, indeed, a very fruitful discussion, Ashwinderji. Like you mentioned, what is qualified lead, the different types of lead generations, different kind of customers, the mistakes of losing leads, and the best ideas for lead generations. I think we discussed it all here. So thank you so much, our eminent panel members, Mr. Arun, Anand, Mohit, Ramsinghani, Abhishek, Jain, and Manoj, Chellani, and Mr. Jayesh, Rathod, for being here with us today, sharing your views and opinions from various segments that you are in, from there, how you are looking at this entire aspect of art and science of lead generation. And Mr. Ashwinder, Singh, for such a wonderful moderation and bringing the best out of our speakers today on this very crucial topic for us. So thank you so much, everyone. Fantastic session.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Sapna. Thank you, Ashwinder. Great time. Nice meeting you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.